People have been coming up to me for the last, I would say, 4 to 5 weeks. Why are you so anti-LeBron suddenly? Why are you so anti-Laker suddenly? You thought this was going to work. Yep, and this is why I've been so anti-Laker. Adrian Wojnarowski, the Woj, dropped a bomb this morning. Lakers are a mess. It's a power struggle. The organization right now is not aligned on any level. Jeannie Buss, Magic, Pelinka, Luke Walton, LeBron. No connectivity. No plan going forward. Everybody's sort of aligned for themselves, looking to save their reputation and their job. This is what I've been hearing for the last 4 to 5 weeks. This is why I've suddenly, quote, turned on LeBron, suddenly, quote, turned on the Lakers. This is what I've been told. Woj, who does this for a living, covers the NBA, confirms it. This is why I've said, I think the title runs for LeBron are over. I don't see hope going forward. It's a roster with no shooters. They had 2 good ones, Lou Williams, Brook Lopez. They gave them both away. I don't think this is a place that agents are driving young stars. I don't think Kawhi Leonard and Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant, and although not young, I don't think they want any part of this mess. The Lakers have had the worst record in the NBA for the last 6 years. They're no longer a well-run organization. Jeannie Buss, second generation, right? The great dad passes away, hands it to the kids, and the kids don't get along, and it doesn't work. And I like Jeannie, but she's not her father. Doesn't have that quite it quality that he had, turning the Lakers into the massive brand they were. Magic, by the way, is not a grinder. This is something I've been told that every summer he goes on a yacht for a month over in Italy for a month. Other NBA execs don't do that. He takes his friends, and that's fine, but that's not what NBA execs should be doing in August. Leaving for 4 and 5 weeks with friends on yachts, and you don't really. And then Rob Pelinka's an agent, and he'd never been a front office guy. And now Bob Myers in Golden State was an agent, but he was also an assistant GM after being an agent. Now he's a very good GM. This is officially a mess. And I'm not going to blame LeBron for this because LeBron wasn't here, then joined this situation. It feels too big and celebrity to me. Not enough grinders in the room for me. People doing things they've never done before. Magic tried to be a talk show host, didn't work. Magic tried to be a head coach, didn't work. Magic was a great player. This is another Magic move away from his strength, which is playing basketball, which was remarkable. Now he's had some business success, but there's if you've never done something before, and then all of a sudden you're put into a big situation to do something at a high level, it's often a 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 year learning process. Well, LeBron James doesn't have 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 years to get this roster right. It's a mess. Kobe's in Rob Pelinka's ear. Magic's doing his own thing. This is a 16-hour-a-day job. Magic's not going to put in 16 hours a day for this. And I'm not just blaming Magic. I will say this, too. I've been told this by executives. And I talked to somebody close to LeBron James yesterday who got a little annoyed with me because I'm seen as now a turncoat. I'm anti-LeBron, and I said LeBron's heavy. LeBron's heavy. Tom Brady's great. He was never heavy. Derek Jeter was great, but Derek Jeter was never heavy. A-Rod was heavy in his prime. Brett Favre at the end was heavy in Green Bay. Tim Duncan was never heavy. LeBron's heavy. You got to get the right coach, and you got to get the players that fit him, and he's got to like the coach. And Clutch Sports, and they're aligned with him, so you got to make sure you pay attention to Clutch Sports, and not that you give them favoritism, but you better not tick them off. And there's just a lot of moving things, and LeBron is called the king and the chosen one, and it's very intimidating, and people tend to walk on eggshells. That's not necessarily to blame LeBron. It's his reality. It's not his fault. When you're called the chosen one, you're called the king. You walk into a room, it's like your boss walking into a party. Everybody gets a little tense, right? Everybody's walking up. Ooh, the boss showed up at the party. Put your drink down. LeBron's got that effect on teams. Everybody's trying to please LeBron, make LeBron happy, make sure he's not mad. The chosen one, the king. So Woj came out. The story confirms what I've been hearing. They have no plan. They have hope. Hope's not a plan. They hope they land Anthony Davis. That's not a plan. So when people come up to me and say, why'd you turn on him? I say, because stories change and information changes. And what I always say, if your stockbroker came up to you and he said, listen, There's some insider trading going on in this stock we've been buying for 5 years. Let's sell all the stock. Would you sell the stock? Yes, you would, because you got new information. If you're a pilot, you got in a plane and the pilot said to you, hey, listen, this storm has changed. We're going to go around the storm. It's going to take us another 30 minutes in the air, but we don't want to go through the lightning storm. What do you want? You want to take the new radar readout or the old one? Okay? The bottom line is we got new information. This thing hasn't worked. Star Magic, Star LeBron, Star Luke, Star Genie, Star Kobe, Star Polenka the agent. It's not working. It's not working at all. And there's no shooters on the horizon. It's not working. It is a mess. At this point, it's finger crossing. That's not a plan. That's hope. Hope's not a plan. Let's bring on Bucher for one question, then I'm going to hold him over. Rick Bucher was on yesterday, breaking news on our show. This guy is a news breaker. The wrecking ball of journalism. He's blowing stuff up. You know, I just said on the air, the KD thing, I've got too many people I trust, you're one of them, that are telling me the exact same thing. Is it the KD thing? You said it yesterday. It's over. It made big news. After a while, and I've always felt, I like sources. I go to dinners. I went to one last night. I try to stay connected. But there are times when I can get tunnel vision, and I look at Durant leaving and think, this is insane. This is basketball heaven. Right. But you would not have come on the air and said that if you didn't have it sourced multiple times.
No, and look, I'm with you. I feel the same way. It's such a gamble to go from a perennial winner where you're a champion,
brilliantly run,
to New York where it's a mixed bag and they haven't had any success. And I look at how he feels about the media, and I think the media is overblown in New York and how tough they are. But nonetheless, they're there every day and they're coming after you. And KD hasn't done well with that. There's plenty of reasons for me to say this doesn't seem like such a good idea. But when I have time throughout the entire season and people from every avenue saying, no, it's happening. He's going and this is where he's going. It's hard to ignore that.
No, I think it is. And for the record, the winner, of course, is the NBA, because between the ping pong ball lottery and Kevin Durant, the NBA has flourished for 20 years without New York. It's like the NFL can work without the Cowboys, but when the Cowboys now have Dak and they win their division, the NFL's ratings are better. Like, there are certain organizations, it's good that Notre Dame's good in college football.
Sure.
Kentucky and Duke matter in college basketball. The NBA's had a great 20-year run without the Knicks, and it's like it would just explode.
Yes, but they've always had at least one major city that's been in the mix.
Right, Chicago, LA.
Yes, and I know a lot of people want to say that, well, parity is the best thing for the NBA. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's great for the NFL. For the NBA, the numbers say that when you have a stalking horse, when you have that championship team that everybody's going after, and you have dynamic stars, Cleveland, Cavaliers, Warriors. Everybody can complain about, oh, here we go, Warriors and Cavs again. The numbers were as good as, they hadn't been as good as that since the Bulls and the Michael Jordan days. Yeah. So the numbers say people who complain about it not being, there not being parity are not looking at the big picture.
Dynasties almost always equal ratings.
Yep.
So Jeannie Buss comes out yesterday and acknowledges, we haven't lived up to it. Woj, Adrian Wojnarowski, comes out and came out and said, basically, this thing's not working. Nobody's aligned in the front office. I get a lot of people in Los Angeles that will come up to me and say, man, you've already turned on the Lakers. And I say, because I have new information, it's worse than you think. I don't see light at the end of the tunnel. Do you?
No, not for what the expectations are the second that they got LeBron James. The expectation was, here we go, we're going to be a championship contender. This season was big fat zero, sub-zero, because they didn't even get to the playoffs. They didn't get to see their young players in that situation. And now they're stuck in a place where, look, the clock is ticking on LeBron James. I know people want to say he's got 2-3 years left. I believe, and most people around the league believe, what we saw injury-wise this year and energy-wise, that we're beginning to see the end.
Yeah.
And so can they build a team around him fast enough to take advantage of what he has left?
That's fast, speed. I don't see it.
And here's the thing. They were on a different track. You know, Joy was saying they should just realize you can't live off the past, start over, start from scratch. They kind of did that. They went and got Luke Walton. They had a bunch of young players, and here they go, and they're building, and everybody's kind of, okay, we're getting along, and then, oh, LeBron wants to come. Well, let's move everything aside and let's make it happen. And now you have LeBron, but now you have to build a team around LeBron. It's a completely different script.
Yes.
And so you blew up the other one, and now you're starting with this one, but you're starting with one that I don't know that the timeline works.
Or the pieces fit. LeBron.
Well, they certainly don't. Yes.
Listen, the two people that I think have a chance to end up here are Boogie Cousins and Anthony Davis, and they don't work with LeBron.
Right.
Anthony Davis is not a shooter. Therefore, he has to score low. Therefore, he's always in the paint. Therefore, he's doubled. Therefore, LeBron can't score at the rim.
No, I said it at the beginning of the year, and I didn't think it was going to happen. But ideally, if this was going to work, LeBron James needed to come in here and say, I'm not going to worry about offense. I'm not going to worry about passing Michael Jordan. I'm going to lead us to the defensive end because we've got Rajon Rondo, we've got Lonzo Ball, we've got Kyle Kuzma. I mean, if you looked at the talent that was here, it was all offensive. It wasn't defensive. It was taking a page from Kobe Bryant with the national team when they had Carmelo and LeBron and all those guys, and everybody was like, well, how are they going to do that? How's one ball going to satisfy LeBron and Kobe and all that? And Kobe said, I'll be at the defensive end. I'm going to set the tone there. And it opened up everything, and that's how they redeemed themselves from a national perspective. I never expected that LeBron was going to do that, but if this was going to have any chance of working, that's the only way that I could see it work.
Because offensively, the reality is everybody in the world is looking for shooters. The Lakers had two, Lou Williams, Brook Lopez, gave them away.
Yeah.
They're not getting them back. They also gave away Zubac to the Clippers, which is a head scratcher. Every scout I've talked to doesn't get it.
Yep.
I don't mean to be harsh, but is it possible Magic's a little over his head? He's never done this before.
You can go from the very top. I mean, Jeannie is great as a businesswoman. She's great on the business side of things. Who is she going to turn to in this case to handle the basketball aspects of it? Magic has been involved in baseball. He's a great businessman outside of the NBA, but he doesn't have the connections. This really takes people that are in the weeds and grinding out those gems that you find, those hidden players that you can add to the equation. They just don't have the base of knowledge between Magic and even Rob Pelinka.
He was like a very, very good agent, but he was an agent.
Yes, and an agent. And so the other part is you have to have relationships built. You have to have a network. The reason that Greg Popovich and the San Antonio Spurs pull all these guys from all over the place is because they have a worldwide global network of people that they can trust and count on and are going to give them a tip and a valuable tip on, you need to go check this guy out. And they trust those. And you can't build that infrastructure in a year. The Lakers are starting from scratch in so many ways. And in this market, this is where I understand the appeal. Because with Luke and with the team sort of building and getting a little bit better, nobody was that excited about the Lakers. It was still, okay, but when are we going to be a championship team again? When are we going to play for another ring? Whether it's the cost, whether it's the stars, whether it's the Hollywood, whatever it is, that is part of this market. And they're always going to be steering toward that. But I believe that there's no answer other than to do exactly what Joyce said. Take it down.
Yeah.
Have a little patience. Build it back up. And trust that you're going to have a new Lakers regime.
I was talking to somebody yesterday in LeBron's circle, and they were getting annoyed with me. And I said, listen, and they acknowledged this was fair after I said it. I said, LeBron comes with a lot of weight. I said, Tom Brady, you get the coaches, you get the players. I don't have an agency. I'll just show up, grind, and take my couple teammates to Costa Rica. LeBron's heavy.
Yeah.
Derek Jeter wasn't heavy. Peyton Manning was heavy. Brett Favre at the end was heavy. Mm-hmm. Brett was a lot of weight on the franchise. Tippy-toe around, not offend him. Aaron was in the building. LeBron's gotten heavy. Not all his fault, but he's called the chosen one and the king. And the king is not part of the court. The king's above the court. People walk on eggshells. And I said this yesterday to somebody in LeBron's circle. I'm like, LeBron's just, there's a lot of girth and heaviness, and you're always trying to appeal to him, and you don't want to offend him. And I'm like, that works in Miami, where it's so well run and they can handle it. You're throwing him into LA, where this front office is not elite.
Yeah. Well, you also had a Pat Riley who was able to put him in his place or talk to him equally. You also had LeBron at a position where he needed something. He needed something from Miami. So Pat could say, look, you need a ring? And he dumped the rings on the table. I can show you how to get one of these. So LeBron was amenable to that. This is my biggest issue with LeBron James with the Lakers this year, is that I have not heard him once take any accountability for the disappointment that this season has become. Not one single element. It's always about the players. If you're not about, winning and facing the music and all that, then this franchise is not for you. And various elements. But it's never been, and this is not, I think he would admit, this has not been a great season for him.
Optically, it's been a disaster.
Energy hasn't been there. There's been a number of things. He's never once taken it upon himself to say, I need to be better. I needed to do this.
By the way, all these projects, not one Laker has ever been in any of them. Other stars on other teams.
Yeah.
Just one Laker. You couldn't put Lonzo Kuzma in a Sunday calendar section, LA Times. LeBron announces, I'm done for the year. He's on the front of the calendar section talking about business. That's not reaching down to your teammates. That's separating from your teammates. We got to go. Rick Bucher, great stuff. Love having you on. First team common sense, Steven Jackson. So everybody tells me Kevin Durant's leaving Golden State to go to New York. And my takeaway is the goal of every NBA player is to be holding the MVP trophy after winning the championship. He's going to do it for a third straight time. And from that, he's going to go cross country to the Knicks. And I'm like, that's a terrible decision. You don't like it either.
I don't like it either. I think that would be suicide. Going all the way to New York to help rebuild and start all over and try to build one of the most historic franchises and get them back to winning the championship.
That's a lot of energy.
That's not easy as you think. Especially, with KD, he's not getting any younger either. He's definitely one of the best closers, the best closer in the game right now. But I think you don't give up $60 million, first of all. You stay there and get every dime you can. And I've had conversations with KD, and the only thing that I can tell you is he wants the bag. He wants the money. He's been taking pay cuts he took pay cuts in the past. He needs to stay there and get the money. Here's the possibility to win 2 more championships and 2 more Finals MVPs. That'll be 4 championships, 4 Finals MVPs.
So you know him?
Yeah, I know him real well. Real well. We hang out a lot.
You hang out a lot?
Yes.
Okay, so when you hang out with him, and I have no problem with this. Money matters. Got no problem with that at all.
Money
it should.
Definitely. Money is the motivation.
I got no problem with that. I can do this for 50 years. He can do his thing for 12. I got no problem. Does he like the Warriors?
Loves them.
Okay, so why do I keep hearing that he doesn't feel he's been given the respect?
Because it's all speculation. You haven't heard that from him. You haven't heard, we're sitting there talking about where he's going to be now. Because certain people are saying that he's going here. We have no clue, right? So from me talking to him, all I can say is I know he wants the money. Me personally, he should stay in Golden State. I wouldn't go to New York and have to do it all that over. And people are already saying he's a snake for going to Golden State and leaving OKC. Me personally, I respect a player that wants to win. You playing the game to win. You're going to make the money regardless. You're playing the game to win. You're in a great situation in Golden State. Why leave? If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Woj comes out, story today, Adrian Wojnarowski, that the Lakers, Luke, LeBron, Pelinka, Magic, Genie, whether it's a power struggle, his story is it's a mess. They don't have a plan. There's no unified, galvanized, central place they're going. This is not working out. They don't have the shooters. The story is pretty daunting if you're a Laker fan, that this thing's just unraveling a bit. Do you think it's that serious? Because I'll be honest with you, Stephen. This is a shooters league. They had Lou Williams and they had Brook Lopez, and they let them both go. And Brandon Ingram's not tradable now because of the blood situation he's dealing with, the Chris Bosh injury. I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. I don't think young players are lining up to play with LeBron. I don't.
It don't look like it. What it looks like to me is you have Magic, Pelinka, and LeBron on their own agendas. You know, I can see LeBron and I can see Magic want one coach. I can see Pelinka want Juwan Howard because they played in Michigan together. I can see LeBron want. I can see all of them on different agendas. So and the way the season ended, you can see that they're not on the same page. And it could hurt free agency for them, but at this point, we got to see what can happen, because if they don't bring anybody in, we're going to be talking about the same thing come playoffs next season.
It's possible. When you played in the NBA, you could see Steve Kerr used to always joke, you can wear a knee brace, but don't wear two, because you're advertising you can't guard anybody.
Right.
Listen, when I watched LeBron this year, even pre-injury, I didn't think he had a ton of juice on the defensive end. Why is it just that hard for us to come to terms with Stephen? The best of him is done. He's now an older player with 8 straight trips to the finals. He's lost an edge.
I wouldn't say the best of him is done. I would say after making 8 straight finals, you need a summer off. You need a rest. You know, all the basketball he's been playing, how dominant he's been the last 8 years, but I don't think he's done. It's a rough year. Obviously, like I said, when teams lose and the greatest player in the league loses and not make the playoffs, everything is magnified. He had a young team that wasn't prepared for none of this, so that looked bad. The coach they have right now, nobody respected. You know, none of the players, all the way down to the last guy on the team, none of them respected Luke. So it was a dumpster fire from the beginning. But at the same time, they have a chance to fix it. But the question is, will they?
Finally, James Harden, yesterday during the Clipper game, Don McClain, the announcer for the Clippers, came out and we could have the tape. It wouldn't give us much time. Basically said it feels like Harden's manipulating the game. This isn't basketball. It's one-on-one, to which I say, well, Michael Jordan was one-on-one. Kobe did one-on-one. What do you make of the constant criticism of Harden? His game is shticky. It's manipulative. He's traveling. What do you make of it?
Well, Kobe and Jordan, they were ISO guys in a triangle offense. They always ISO out of the offense. And that offense, if you look at the triangle offense, it is an ISO offense. This is the way the Rockets play. They're third in the West. You can't criticize a guy that's been third in the West. Look at the injuries they had. Chris Paul was out. Capella was out. They don't have Trevor Ariza. For this team to still be at the top of the West.
And they made moves in the season for chemistry.
Right, exactly. And I think Iman Shumpert was a big pickup defensively wise, because they don't have Trevor Ariza. But what he's been doing this season, as scoring wise, they've been winning. At one point in the season, they wasn't even in the playoffs.
They're on fire now.
He's on fire. I mean, people want to talk a lot about his game, but it's productive. They're winning. He might be an MVP again this year. This just a style. Every team has their own style of play. This team has bought into the ISO ball. Now, coming playoff time, those guys that sit there and watch James, they better be ready to knock down a shot. And that's the only negative part about it. He gets all the rhythm during the game. He shoots all the shots. Then when it comes fourth quarter and they double him and he has to kick it to a guy who's cold, can he knock that shot down? Everybody can't make that shot in the first quarter and make it in the fourth quarter.
Stephen, good seeing you.